Giant ichthyosaurs have long been strong contenders for the blue whale size. Today their claim has finally been validated. In April 2024, the scientific community named a giant ichthyosaur that lived 200 million years ago, Ichthyodon. It was 25 meters long, and is currently the largest named marine reptile. It also represents the final swan song of the giant ichthyosaurs. However, among unnamed ichthyosaur fossils, there are hints of even larger beings. Even more astonishingly, these giants appear to have had unimaginable potential for growth, seemingly poised to surpass the blue whale to become the largest animal of all time. In 1811, a 12-year-old English girl, Mary Anning, on a beach near her home, discovered the world's first scientifically identified ichthyosaur fossil. 2 centuries later, an 11-year-old girl, Ruby Reynolds, less than 80 kilometers away, discovered another important ichthyosaur. Her discovery process was particularly amazing, like finding $1 million while walking. In May 2020, Ruby and her parents were on an outing in the village of Blue Anchor at the mouth of the River Severn. She noticed on a large rock on the beach a cylindrical piece of stone, perhaps placed there by a kind passerby. Although Ruby was only 11 at the time, she had been fossil hunting with her father for 8 years. She recognized at a glance that this was a bone fragment from some ancient creature. The father and daughter were very excited. They had never found a bone so large before. Ruby continued searching the beach, and soon discovered even larger fragments. The pair took these fossils home, and began to patiently research them. They found a 2018 paper that described a giant ichthyosaur jawbone from Lilstock that was very similar to the bones they had found. Furthermore, the 2 discovery sites were only 10 kilometers apart, so Ruby's father contacted the authors of the paper and led them to Blue Anchor Village to search for more fossils. As time went on, the small search party gradually found other fragments of the same jaw. These pieces fit together perfectly, like a 200-million-year-old jigsaw puzzle. Based on its shape, the jawbone likely belonged to an ichthyosaur. To further confirm its identity, researchers conducted a thin section analysis of it. Under the microscope, the fossil slice showed crisscrossing collagen fibers. Its arrangement pattern was very similar to a previous ichthyosaur, Shawnosaurus sicaniensis. Animals other than ichthyosaurs do not share this feature. At the same time, this jawbone also had some unique features compared to other ichthyosaurs. This indicated it was a completely new species, and so, the researchers gave it a new name, Ichthyodon severnensis. Severnensis does not commemorate Ultraman 7, but refers to the discovery location, the River Severn. Additionally, the Lilstock specimen was also classified as Ichthyodon. This is because it is similar in size and form to the new specimen, and both belong to the same geological formation, dating to the late Triassic, 202 million years ago. So just how big was Ichthyodon? Researchers compared this fossil with other ichthyosaurs, and concluded it was 25 meters long. This reaches the average length of a blue whale. Ichthyodon has also become the largest valid species of marine reptile discovered so far. And Ruby is not only the discoverer of this great species, she also co-authored the paper naming the species, becoming a young scientist with a formal publication. Lady Luck placed Ichthyodon before Ruby, and Ruby seized the opportunity. She not only introduced the world to this legendary creature, but also changed the course of her own life. Perhaps she is the next Mary Anning. In fact, if we consider unnamed fossil, Ichthyodon is not even the largest ichthyosaur. Over the past 200 years, in England, France, and Germany, many jaw fragments of giant ichthyosaurs have been unearthed. People had long mistaken these cylindrical bones for the leg bones of dinosaurs, stegosaurs, or amphibians. It was only this month that we confirmed their ichthyosaur identity through their microstructure. And among these jaw fragments hides a monster that could dwarf Ichthyodon. This is the yet-to-be formally named Ost. The Ost specimen was also unearthed in the Yukon, but too few parts of it were preserved, and it lived several million years earlier. So researchers cannot determine if it and Ichthyodon are the same animal. However, the collagen fiber pattern shows it definitely belongs to the ichthyosaur family. The diameter of this jawbone is at least 30% larger than Ichthyodon's. Therefore, Ost's complete body length should be over 30 meters. This result is supported by both old and new papers. However, researchers also emphasize that due to the scarcity of fossils, this result is highly speculative. Based on the 21-meter-long, 50-ton reconstruction of Achaurus sicaniensis, Ost's weight would approach 200 tons. So, how big is the largest blue whale? Some studies suggest that data on blue whales exceeding 30.5 meters is questionable. This is because past measurements had many issues, such as confusing Norwegian feet with British feet. So the largest blue whales are about 30 meters long and 200 tons, which means Aust may have already reached the maximum size of a blue whale. But that is not the most incredible part. Research shows that both Ichthyodon and Aust had not stopped growing before they perished. There were not even signs of their growth rate slowing down. Scientists have proposed two explanations for this surprising phenomena. One is that these ichthyosaurs were not yet fully mature, still in their subadult or early adult stages. The second is that these ichthyosaurs continued to grow after reaching adulthood, and this growth mechanism is the reason for their gigantic size. Because we have collected too few specimens so far, we cannot yet plot their growth curve. So we can't determine which theory is correct. But what is important is, these ichthyosaurs certainly had much more room to grow. Heavens! Not even reaching their limit at 200 tons. Just how large could these creatures get? Although Aust's size is highly uncertain, when considering its growth potential, no one can deny the challenge it poses to the blue whale's status. Moreover, we must realize that as a living animal, the blue whale's sample size is much larger than that of fossil species. Therefore, it is easier to find individuals of extreme size. When comparing maximum sizes, ichthyosaurs are at a clear disadvantage, and these ichthyosaur fragments might not even belong to the same species. In that case, the sample size for a single species is even smaller, a greater disadvantage. So, ichthyosaurs have the full potential to surpass the blue whale and become the largest animal of all time. So, besides their immense size, what other features did Ichthyodon and Aust have? Research has found that the collagen fibers interwoven in the bones of these ichthyosaurs, much like high-tech carbon fiber composites, made their skeletons much stronger. Similar reinforcement is found in ankylosaur armor, but is rare in ordinary bones. However, this reinforcement was actually essential for giant ichthyosaurs. First, compared to terrestrial tetrapods, aquatic tetrapods like ichthyosaurs have lower bone density. Second, bones become even less dense during rapid growth. Finally, even just by normally opening and closing their mouths in the water, a giant ichthyosaur's jawbones would endure immense pressure. Therefore, it was very necessary for them to reinforce their jawbones with collagen fibers. In an interview, a researcher speculated that these giant ichthyosaurs might have used their reinforced jaws to collide with adversaries, or used their bite to subdue large, struggling prey. Of course, these are just casual speculations. After all, not even teeth of these ichthyosaurs have been found. Ichthyodon and Aust may belong to the Schastosauridae family. However, this family is somewhat of a taxonomic wastebasket for large Triassic ichthyosaur, with its members frequently changing. The Schastosauridae family began to gradually increase in size in the late Triassic, from the 15-meter-long Shanosaurus of 230 million years ago to the 21-meter-long Schastosaurus of 215 million years ago, then to the 25-meter-long Ichthyotidon from over 200 million years ago, and the over 30-meter Aust. They continuously pushed the limits of animal size at the time, and it is unknown when they would have reached the ocean's ecological carrying capacity. But suddenly, these ancient giants vanished without a trace. The layer above where Ichthyodon was found is covered by a formation of basalt and tsunami deposits, which records the Central Atlantic Magmatic Province eruption of 200 million years ago and the resulting Triassic-Jurassic mass extinction event. This extinction event greatly reduced species diversity and morphological disparity. It is one of the 5 least known major extinctions. The great Schastosauridae family fell, and the entire ichthyosaur family, until their own extinction 100 million years later, never again achieved such magnificent sizes. The existence of giant Triassic ichthyosaurs indicates that the oceans of that time must have had a unique ecosystem capable of supporting such giant animals, but the specific details are still under-researched. It is hard for us to imagine how an animal that does not subsist on krill could grow to the size of a blue whale. Were Ichthyodon and Aust generalist predators like Shanosaurus, or similar, predators like Himalayasaurus, or perhaps an unknown type of filter feeder? You can post your own theories in the comments section. My guess is they were generalist hunters. Whether it was cephalopods or vertebrates, they would eat anything they could swallow. Just like a kun. The good news is, the site where Ichthyodon was found holds more fossils. For example, huge ribs, vertebrae, and limb bone, and even a large coprolite containing fish scales. However, none of them can be reliably linked to Ichthyodon. Hopefully, In the future, we can fully unveil the Titan's secrets and deeply feel the awe and charm of this ancient giant. Your support is the motivation for my creations. Please like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.